Okay, so this demo is going to be about some soft slab work. So in Ceramics 1, we talked a lot about more hard slabs and using some soft slab for curbs, but it was all very rigid. And I want you to think about slabs as something that can be very fluid and soft, kind of pillowy as well. So first we're going to talk about using templates with soft slabs. Now, depending on the size of your template, you're going to want different thicknesses of clay. So I have a fairly small template, and that's here. So I have a slab here that is 1/8 of an inch. So I wouldn't want something thicker than that with something this small, because it would be it wouldn't give that pillowy soft effect. It would just be too thick. I have a 1/4 inch slab over here for something else, but we're going to start with this template. So this, I'm going to try to make a very pillowy looking pyramid. And I want you to think about this for your teapot project. If you want to do hand-built teapots, you could do that, or any other project that you think it might be applicable to. So when I use a template, I like to transfer the template over with a ball stylus, or a ballpoint pen works too. If you use something sharp, it'll cut through the paper. So I'm just going to trace all these lines onto my slab. So these tabs are for folding over the piece. And with clay, I could choose to leave those on and have a kind of an area where it's folded over, like a flap. Or I could choose to cut those off and just bevel my edges instead. So maybe I'll do some of both so that you can see that. I'll leave the flap on one of them and take the flap off of the other two. So I'll pick up this template and you can see the image transferred over. Well, yeah, you can see that. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this out of my slab. And you want to make sure when you're cutting that you do it partway through first, because otherwise you might end up with a mistake, which isn't the worst thing in clay, right? Because we can reattach stuff, but it's much easier if you do it the first time. And I'm gonna not follow my directions so I can get this done. Much like in class demos, do as I say, not as I do, right? Because I'm doing stuff to be fast. Okay, so that's cut out. Let's remove this extra material. And we'll kind of stack these things up. So now I have my template cut out, and I can decide if I want to use these marks to be where I fold it inside, or I could flip it over and have it be on the outside. It kind of doesn't matter. It depends on what you like. So again, I left the tab on one of these and I took it off on the others. So for the ones that don't have the tabs, I'm going to want to bevel the edges so that they come together in a clean way. So I'm going to take my knife and hold it at a nice angle here and angle it all in. And since I'm folding this all in, I know that I can hold it at the same angle and it'll work out. So I'm angling that side. And I know you've all done this in Ceramics 1 with putting together the hard slabs, but we're going to kind of focus on making this very soft in the way that we put it together. Remember, don't use any sharp knives on the drywall boards, which is what I'm using here. I'm going to score everything at once because this is small and I want to kind of work fast to fold it up. I'm going to score the sides that are going to be touching, and then so this side has the tab, so I'm going to score this tab instead of the very edge, and then when I go to fold it up, I'll score underneath here. It'll be the last one that I do. So a little bit of water, and obviously don't saturate these drywall boards either, so don't use much water when you're doing this. A lot of water is not going to help you out anyway. A little bit of water, that's all you need. Alright, so we're going to start folding this up, and we have to be very gentle and think about our lines. If I feel like I want to get a better fold, I might take something that's blunted and kind of make those lines a little bit deeper so it has a nice place to fold on. If I want them to be really, really soft, maybe I don't do that. I'm not going through, right? I'm not cutting very deep, but I want it to have a good place to fold. So I'm going to start with these two pieces and start folding those up. And I'm going to gently press these places that I have scored together, bring it up to the point, and squeeze those in. Just, you want to get pressure, but not too much pressure to where you're squishing it. It's very delicate. It's another reason why you want the slabs to be thinner, so you could do that. Something this small, I could almost get away with something that was even thinner than 1/8 of an inch. So I've got this open, and I'm going to go ahead and close that up and attach the side that doesn't have the tab first. And then the tab side, I'm going to go ahead and push that in and then score that area that I hadn't scored yet so that the tab will adhere. And I'm going to fold that tab over. And it just gives you, it would just give you a different look, right? It would be more constructed look instead of a overall kind of pillow soft form. And make sure that gets attached. And obviously you'd want to clean that up and make it nice and sharp if that's the aesthetic you were going for. So it looked like it was purposeful, right? It's not just there. So I've got this little pyramid, and I want to clean this up. I would take my fingers, take ribs, and really soften that out. Right now it has some enclosed air, and as you know from working on pieces in Ceramics 1, enclosed air can be super helpful because it pushes back against you. It gives some structure under there, so you could kind of push on this and shape it. You could push on a side to kind of move that form a little bit and have it look a little bit more puckered or a little bit more full. And kind of get that bottom to bulge out like that. Give it a little bit more of a softer look. And with bigger things you can get a bit more movement. Like I said, if it gets considerably bigger, you'll want to go with a bit thicker slab so it can support itself. Until you get really good at this, people who do this like professionally, can use very, very thin slabs like this for a pretty decent size, and get really, really nice results. So you can certainly practice and get really good at handling these very thin slabs delicately. Templates are really good for that, to help you do that. Another cool thing you can do with trapped air is you can use the air to your advantage, not just for it pushing against it to support it, but you could also like add air. You can pop a hole in this. So I could use this and put a hole at the top here, and I could blow into this. Oh, I busted my seam because it wasn't fully set yet. So you got to give it a little bit more time, because seams are softer than the rest of it, so it's a good place for the air to escape. But you can actually blow up. You can kind of see how that that side got puffier. I'm not sure if it's translating on the video very well, but that side puffed out. And you can get some pretty dramatic changes with your pieces. So just give them a few minutes for the seams to set up so the air doesn't try to bust out the seams. But once they're set up, you should be good to go, and you can really get this nice puffy cloud-like form, and using softer slabs. So think about that for template use for your teapots or for other projects that you might want sort of soft walls.